Pugh. That'll do it! That will do it! Pugh for Bournemouth! The roof of the Gold Sands is raised! Everyone here knows what that could mean to this football.
Good evening, Bournemouth fans. I've got one of these back. It was about time, wasn't it? Final score from Dean Court this afternoon was AFC Bournemouth 3, Birmingham City 2. Well, with a caretaker manager in charge that has only just taken over, in many ways, the performance didn't really matter today, but the result did. That's what Woodgate said his remit was, and that's what we got. To his credit, he's obviously needed to come in and pick the players up who've been mentally at a low and to give the players some confidence to express themselves on the football pitch. Today's showing, you've got to say, was far from perfect, but it was one which saw us score goals. Nice to see. Yes, we conceded 2 terrible goals, the second of which I was sworn was offside, but we'll see about that later on. But we did score 3. Individually, a load of talking points. I'm sure some players having superb games, some players being terrible. I'm sure Tom Jordan will have something to say about that when he's joined by Morgan Scott for the player ratings show, which is going to be out on this channel tonight. So do subscribe and like this video to see more content like that. It's hard to know really what to take from today, but if winning breeds confidence, then you've got to say today is a good day. If you want to take part today, the link's at the bottom of the screen. Just go to afcbpodcast.com/take part. It's just a case of grabbing your phone, plugging your headphones in or your iPad or your laptop, whatever, and just waiting in the room. The room at the moment has got a load of people in it, so you may not be able to get on straight away. However, later in the show, we'll be on for about an hour. Hopefully by that time, you'll be able to take part. And also, if you're on live chat, whether you're watching on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, put your chats on, and we'll echo them at the bottom of the screen as well. So yeah, 3-2 to Bournemouth, and the first people we're going to be talking to today is Aaron, who's here, and Zach, who's got Josh in the background as well. How are you guys?
Relieved.
Yeah,
very relieved. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, we said before the game, I think today was all about the result. I mean, obviously performance would have been great, but we had to get the 3 points. And I just thought, you know, once we went a goal down, heads dropped. The first half, I actually wrote down, I don't think their keeper touched it the first 35 minutes or so. And it was a bit laborious. But what we did notice was that we felt that there was a bit more directness, no faffing around at the back. Yeah, Shane Long definitely could hold the ball up good in the air. And there was more urgency, energy. It's difficult, obviously, to put it down to Woodgate, etc. I said before the game, I don't think he should take massive credit if we win, and he certainly shouldn't be the fall guy if we lose. But there seemed to be more energy, urgency, and fight out there today than we've seen for a long time. We thought Lerma was man of the match by a mile. Whether that putting him on the bench last game was a kick up the backside, but he really was fantastic. Brooks, same old story. He just wasn't really in the game. And I think Danjuma, after he scored, was good. But we made hard work of it defensively. I mean, we thought Carter Vickers actually did quite well. But when you've still got Smith, Carter Vickers, Cook, and Kelly, and conceding 2 goals like that, there are still problems at the back. But we're scoring again. I think that's the most important thing. It reminded us of the game against Blackburn, first game of the season. And I think, to be honest with you, our defence is so frail that's the way we're going to have to be the rest of the season. We're going to try to outscore teams. We can't hold on for these 1-0s. And invariably, if we play like that, we'll score more than we concede and we'll win 3-2 or 4-3 or whatever it might be.
Yeah, completely agree. And we're going to get the opinions of Jeremy. Morgan Scott's going to come in shortly. Jeremy's over in North Carolina, so we're going to bring him in straight away. Jeremy, looking happy after a victory there today. 3-2 to AFC Bournemouth. Wasn't the best performance, but you know what? A win's a win, and we'll take that, won't we? We'll give him a chance to speak and get his stuff ready together in a minute. I think he just has paused, but the person who hasn't paused is Morgan Scott here. Morgan, how are you?
Delighted. I don't care how we get over the line. That final 3 minutes was pretty nervous, but we got there in the end, so it's a job done. And by all means, no, it wasn't perfect, but we won ugly and we got over the line. And if it comes off Philip Billing's ankle, it comes off Philip Billing's ankle and it goes into the back of the net. So, yeah, delighted. And now we push on. We got a long way to go. But it's back to positive thinking. So it's really good.
Yeah, it is good. I mean, what did you think of the starting lineup when you saw it? Because many people were thinking, "Oh, this is a bit different." How did you feel when you saw the team lineups appear at 2:00 today, Morgan?
I was upset for Sam Savage. I think he really deserves to be on that team sheet. Why David Brooks was in that starting 11. He's always been my favourite Bournemouth player, but he isn't performing. He's gone 8. I think this is the 8th game without a goal now. No assists. He gave the ball away too often again today. You can't be starting a player there in that bad form. I'm sorry, it might sound really negative on the back of a really positive 3 points, but Sam Savage for me should have been up there with Shane Lon, who I think would have given him a bit more service, and he wouldn't have maybe looked so isolated. So yeah, but really, really happy, and we don't want to sound too down because it's just nice to actually have a smile back on our faces.
Yeah, very true. Jeremy's back with us now. Hopefully the connection is sorted. Jeremy, did you see the game firstly?
I did. I got to watch most of it. And I have to say, I can't focus too much on the negatives. Just like Aaron said, I completely agree. We seem to start from the beginning, just pressing forward. I even noticed that within the first 10 minutes, Danjuma was coming back down that left side to help out Kelly. And a few times, Kelly would pass it to him, and it started kind of the break up the field. So very positive. I think Danjuma, once he finally got the goal, you could see his attitude changed. Wish he would pass it a little more. I thought Kelly struggled a little bit with the crosses. Maybe should have held it up a little bit at one point. Maybe crossed too early at another. But and you're right, Sam. That second goal for Birmingham, that guy was a mile off sides. I mean, it wasn't even close. Yeah. So I don't know. So it should have been 3-1. But one thing I noticed too, Philip Billing. My goodness, I've not seen him ever run with that much urgency. There was a ball that got deflected down the left-hand side late in the second half, and he's running faster than I've ever seen him run to try to save it from going out of bounds. I've never seen him do that before. So I think this team was so desperate for something positive, so desperate, and I'm hoping we can build on this. And again, Aaron said it. Man, we're just going to have to outscore teams, but that's what we do, right? I mean, who cares if we give up a goal or two if we score 3 or 4? So I'm excited. I got to watch it. It's always good when I can catch a game.
It's very interesting with Phil Billing because, I mean, that midfield now is so competitive with Pearson in there, Wilshere, Lewis Cook. So he has to really play for his place. And he's still unconvincing at times for me. I mean, even with his goal, I think he hit it with the wrong foot because I think he was going for it with his right and it almost deflected off his left. So even that was unintentional, but right place, right time. And great to see Danjuma. I'm not sure whether it was a shot. It's almost just one of those fast, whip across goal. And if anyone gets a touch, it's probably going to go in. And that's what he did. And that's what happened. Aaron, before we switch it up, and Zach and Josh, obviously, how do you think we should go into the match on Tuesday night against Burnley? Is it a case of try to keep momentum, try to keep the players you had playing today and play them again, or slight tweaks? What would you be doing?
I'm not sure. I think maybe we could keep the same. Brooks is poor. He's my favourite player, but he's poor, so I think he should be
there. I'd give Pearson the game. I think we need to see him. He needs to get some game time. No, I'd actually give Shane Long a rest. I mean, with King gone and Stom out for a couple of weeks, I think we don't want Long to suddenly do a hamstring or anything. So I think give Sam some game time. I mean, personally, it's not a priority for us. Obviously, we'd love to win the FA Cup, clearly, but it's not going to happen. So come out of it with no injuries. It's all about the Forest game next week. I was just going to say, I don't know what people's mentality is because we were looking at the other results today, and when Brentford were beating Middlesbrough and Stoke were drawing Reading, half of us were like, it's kind of more important that the teams below us are losing because there's now a 5-point gap to 7th place. And obviously, much as we'd love automatic, I'm just not. I mean, Brentford are flying and Norwich are wobbling a bit. But I just think if Middlesbrough had won and Bristol City had won, which they didn't, 2 or 3 points. I think first and foremost, we've got to be in the top 6. And I think there's now a nice 5-point gap. if we anything more is a bonus. But and also another thing, I think Jack Wilshere's getting sharper, and I think that's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, certainly hope so. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to switch it up. Really appreciate you coming on. Aaron, Zach and Josh, really appreciate it. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Bye.
And Morgan, you're going to be on the player rating show with Tom Jordan later on today. So can you give me a little bit of a heads up as to who's your man of the match, or is that the most obvious question ever?
Yeah, to be honest with you, Sam, it's got to go to the left foot of Jack Wilshere, hasn't it? To be honest with you, he was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Best player on that pitch. I think Willow gave it to him in when he got substituted in the 66th minute or something daft. But he was man of the match completely. It didn't matter that Philip Billing got the winner. It really didn't. He was magnificent today, and it's just really, really nice to sit here. Just coming up to 5:15 on the Saturday tea time, and we're actually smiling. I don't care that we. But by the way, can I just echo that wasn't the best AFC Bournemouth performance we're ever going to see. But it doesn't matter. In the Championship, as Kirk and Paul mentioned, you have to win ugly sometimes, and that's what we done today. We went at our best, but we got them 3 points, and now that should be building momentum. Woodgate, when he made that substitution for Phil Billing, when he took Wilshere off and brought Billing on, I didn't understand it. Now, that's why he's taken charge of that team this afternoon, and I haven't, because he's decided to make that change. Although it wasn't the best goal, he's obviously seen something, an opportunity tactically, and it's worked, and it's fantastic. And I might need to lie down after that performance.
Yeah.
Because then when the ball went up for 4 minutes at the end, it was, I was just thinking, come on. Yeah. And then I saw it come on, and then I saw the 4-time whistle, and it was like, and breathe.
And breathe. Well, don't lie down for too long, because you're doing a player rating show this evening with Tom Jordan. So make sure you're around for that. Morgan Scott, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Appreciate it, guys. Up the Cherries, and let's hope we push on and get the win against in the FA Cup against Burnley, and hopefully no VAR.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, thanks for the reminder, mate. Yeah, that was awful. Right. Mark Dean's here from the Cherries Trust, chair of the Cherries Trust, who's coming on in a second. By the way, Daniel and Owen and Kirk will bring on together for a bit of a family affair. We'll also bring on Billy and Pete at the same time, who are standing by. But let's bring in Mark Dean, and also we're also going to bring in Daniel from Florida as well. But firstly, Mark, how are you, mate? You right?
I'm fine, thanks, Sam. Yeah, very well. Yourself?
Not too bad. I've got a smile on my face for once. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
It has. It's been a tough few weeks. You look at Norwich today, couldn't hit a barn door from 6 yards. Watford not scored again today. So we're not the only ones going through it a little bit at the moment. The only teams that seem to be in form are probably Brentford, Norwich and Swansea. But again, Norwich are struggling. So today's win, who cares how it comes? It's 3 points. It was much needed. And hopefully it will lift our confidence for the next game.
Hard for JT, wasn't it? Because I think the writing was on the wall for JT. It's almost like he knew when he was throwing up Asmir Begovic in the 89th minute for a corner that we had against a team that were 23rd in the division. It was almost like he knew. But it's a shame, but it hasn't tarnished what he did at the club, is it? Because he was a tremendous servant, was Jason.
Bit tongue in cheek here, Sam, but two managers now that have been on their phones in games or at the end of games have both lost their jobs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, good point.
I think that was a rather awkward moment for JT to explain. I was quite concerned to see that, to be honest. But JT as a person and what he's written as that letter to say goodbye to everyone, totally top guy. Thank you, JT, for 22 years of memories. Yeah, we've been through it. I've been through it for all those 22 years and more. So I remember when JT first came to the club. But Sam, it's nice to get a win under our hats. Tuesday night, as it stands at the moment, not particularly bothered. I think the league performances are a bit more important. But if we can get a win at Burnley, we get a win.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't really matter how they come, does it? Mark, appreciate you coming on, mate. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, Sam.
See you, Mark.
Cheers, all the best. Mark from Cherries Trust. Make sure you check them out on Twitter. Follow them at Cherries Trust. That's Mark Dean there as well. There was a little bit of audio feedback there, but all is good. And Jeremy, just before we switch it out again, yeah, so it is the FA Cup. Burnley haven't got past the 5th round, I think, since 2002. They obviously want to make sure they maintain their Premier League status, which Sean Dyche seems to be doing relentlessly season on season. How seriously do you think they can be taking it, and how close to an upset do you think we can cause?
Man, you never want to say nothing is an important game, but I think the league is much more important at this point. I don't think I think you let the kids play more than anyone. You've got to get Surridge on. You've got to give him some time. I'm like others have said. I don't understand why he doesn't see the pitch more. However, I think you can get the younger players in for this game, and if you steal one, you steal one. If not, no big deal. You get some rest where rest is needed. But we've got to string together a few wins in the league right now. Are the top two out at too far away? Have they distanced themselves where we can't catch them? I don't think so yet. But we're going to have to string together some wins and start putting some pressure on those teams, because you have to say and admit that we are that team wherever we are on the table because of the talent that we do have, the individual talent. Every team above us is going to have to look back and say, man, we hope these guys don't get some confidence and start winning some games. Because if we do, then they're going to start thinking, here they come. And we still have to play all those teams again. And I like our chances. I think this will help springboard us. But that's a long answer to your question, Sam. I don't think the cup matters really on Tuesday. I would play all the kids and see what happens.
Brilliant. Jeremy in North Carolina, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, mate.
Thanks, Sam. Have a good one, buddies.
You too, mate. Thank you very much. That is Jeremy there. And what we're going to do, Daniel, before I come to you, I'll unmute you in a second. We're gonna make it a family affair with Kirk Tovey, who is with us, and also Owen here as well. So you're in the same house, but in separate rooms. Or even, are you in the same room? It looks like you're in something like quality anyway. Kirk from the Cherries Red Army YouTube channel. But firstly, I'll speak to Daniel. Daniel, we won a game at last. How are you feeling, and what did you make of that?
I am really happy. We didn't play the best, but a win is a win, and without that win, no one would have been happy, because, like, for the first half, people were saying that we kind of played good, but we didn't play the best. I feel like when they scored the first goal, that's when we woke up. And something I feel like that Jason Tino didn't do is like scream at the players when they're doing bad. And I think that's why when they did that today, the players were like, yep, let's just go. And I'm very happy we didn't play that good, but a win is a win. And on Tuesday, I would say we just put the players that did awful today, put them on that game, and let's see if they can get their skills back.
Daniel, I know that you absorb nearly every piece of AFC Bournemouth content that's out there. Cherries Red Army channel, on Back of the Net, on Twitter, pretty much everything. Did you see Jonathan Woodgate's press conference that he did? It was on AFCB TV. He spoke to the media for about 10 minutes. Did you see that?
I didn't see all of it, but I saw that he was talking about his main focus is about the 3 goals, and he's not really paying attention to being the head manager. He's just trying to go for the 3 goals. 3 points. 3
points, exactly. And he emphasised, because everyone's always trying to prod him and ask him the question, do you want the job full time? Will you throw your hat into the ring? And he said, look, I'm just focused on getting the 3 points on Saturday. And, to his credit, he absolutely did it. And I was quite impressed with his persona and his demeanour in front of the camera. I thought he was very laid back. He didn't look as nervous as what Tyndall tends to come across as. So, yeah, quite impressed with him. Obviously, whether he can be a decent candidate or not, time will tell. We'll have to see what happens at Burnley, I suppose. There's only a limited window for that. So, Daniel, is this the match that starts to turn things around for the Cherries, do you think?
I won't say this is the match because we didn't play the best, but I feel like it would give us out of 10, it would be a solid 6. It would give the confidence to at least score goals. but not all the players' confidence, because there was like, I can name at least like 6 of them who were actually decent.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it's a short amount of time, but we're not going to go overboard with our content tonight. So yeah, cheers, Daniel. Thank you very much. And before I bring in Kirk and Owen, I'll put Ethan on screen. So Ethan, I'll be ready for you very shortly. John Sparks here, Pete North as well. But in fact, what I'll do is I'll bring in John Spark now, and then we'll go to the youth next. But of course, Owen, you're one of the back of the net youth, of course. And how did you find that, mate? 3-2.
At first, I found it very nervous when they got the first goal, and then I felt like that's when we started to just realise that we actually needed the 3 points. And I felt after the first goal, we played really well. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. It certainly took them to score to kick us into life. And Kirk, I'm one of these people that always hopes that we score first, because if we don't, it's always a bit of risk. We can either go one of 2 ways. Sometimes we turn it on, and other times we just look like we're more susceptible to concede. But thankfully, the players responded today. It wasn't perfect, but we got the job done.
And that was the task, and that was the remit for Jonathan Woodgate. Get the 3 points. Performance was least of the problems. We want them to come in time, but he got the job done. I thought we were actually pretty good at the start for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we fell back into our ways that we played recently. And when we do go behind, it's a bit of a concern, because we've lost a few matches recently and not scoring many goals. So we got the 3 points, not perfect, but yeah, we got there.
Yeah, we certainly did get there. And we're going to pop your comments on the screen. We won't pop the chat link in chat yet, because whilst it's really busy, we don't want to overload the room. But I will later on in the show when things start to die down. John Sparks here with us. I remember watching one of your shows with Tom Jordan recently, the player ratings. It was an hour long, where we needed to dissect the players bit by bit. And it was a dissection which was hard to watch, because there were some painful truths there today, and it wasn't the best performance. There were certain players that shone, namely Jack Wilshere, of course, but also there were some players that still weren't particularly great today. Do you want to name them or allude to what went wrong at times today?
Yeah, I think I actually got into a little bit of a debate that I could have continued much longer with someone on Twitter about Lewis Cook's start to the performance. I think he got better as the game went on. Certainly he almost slipped and trying to do a back heel 1 yard from his own goal line. And had it not been for Steve Cook being in exactly the right place at the right time, as he tends to do, it would have been 1-0 down a lot quicker than it actually ended up being. I found Kelly was, again, very negative down the left-hand side. And I think Danjuma, I think his entire performance and his goal summed up exactly why he should be playing in a front two alongside someone else, and not being given the responsibility of, one, tracking back on the left-hand side, which he did do at times, but not enough for me. And the other thing was just how little he actually sort of created on the left-hand side outside of the free kick that ended up getting us the 3rd goal. Him and David Brooks were often just stood with the ball, and you wanted them to do something with it, and they just didn't do a thing with the ball, and they ended up passing it backwards. A comment I made was that you just got to look at the way Birmingham played. When they get it wide, cross the ball in immediately. Just first goal was from a cross. Their second goal was from a cross. Every single time they got the ball forward wide, they crossed it in. And every time we got it wide, we dilly-dallied on it and we passed it backwards. And it was very frustrating to watch the difference in approach. And you only got to look at the success that the Birmingham got from actually putting the ball in the box that we weren't doing until we eventually managed to turn things around, thankfully.
Yeah, no, completely agree. How close are your rooms, Kirk and Owen, where you are in the house at the moment?
Literally the other side. He would be facing me if there wasn't a wall right now.
Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a 10-second challenge. Do you think you can just walk around within 10 seconds?
Oh, no.
Yeah, we can do that.
Right. Here we go. I'll give you 10 seconds. I'll give you a countdown. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Go. Right, let's see if it can happen. Come on, 1, 2, 3. Come on, let's have starters orders. Let's see if they. To be honest, that's all right. That's all right. 8 seconds. You know what?
Just about.
You did all right there. Fair play. Fair play. Kirk, you look knackered.
I'm shattered. Well, you've seen me on a little down pitch, so I'm knackered, mate. I'm done. Somebody else like Wilshere did it 67 minutes.
So, sorry, I was about to call you Owen. Kirk, there's a Lerma shirt behind you today. He's been not too great in the last few games, but how do you think he did today? Because I couldn't really work out the formation at first. Do you want to talk us through how we lined up and how you thought the Lerma did?
Yeah, so it was a funny one really, because I thought it could have been a 4-4-1-1, it could have been a 4-3-3, and then when I put out some of my tweets on Cherries Red Army, some people came back with 4-2-3-1, and I was like, actually, that does look like a 4-2-3-1, and it's exactly that. So Lerma sort of fitted in to a role that was most common, and the reason we brought him to the club under Eddie Howe, and his best performance in a long time, looking more like himself. Yeah, he was good at the start of the season when he was more, a dynamic player that JT was trying to turn him into, being more attacking and, proactive with the ball and that. But it sort of died off, and you could see it was affecting his performance. I thought we had lost his aggression, his bite in midfield, and I felt like he was a bit like his old self today. And when we've got a good Lerma like that, we've got a chance, and we'll always be a better team with Jeff playing this way. Although I was hoping to see Pearson play today, but I suppose the picks were justified with the performances from Lerma and Lewis Cook, although he struggled at the start, Lewis.
Yeah, John, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Kirk, actually. Do you think the reason why Lerma seemed to very much put in an improved performance today was maybe that because of Woodgate, perhaps? Was Tyndall maybe not giving him some smoke up the backside that he needed? Do you think that maybe he was treated the way that he needed to be given that positivity and that confidence to put in the performance?
Well, I think Woodgate said yesterday in his press conference, they said, look, what are you doing differently, and Jonathan said, I'm not going to complicate it. There's a lot of players' confidence on the floor at the minute. And I think that's what he probably did. He went back to basics. He worked it probably in training the last couple of days on the ability of the players and getting the best out of them, and just go on there and do what you do best. And Lerma did that exactly today. To be fair, Lerma would have been a player in demand, I'm sure, in the summer. Because of what he'd done previously in the Premier League. We had lost that a bit, and when you lose someone like Lerma, it's a bit difficult for us, and we have struggled as a team. But yeah, no, I just think he went back to basics, and he's probably looked at Lerma from previous seasons and tried to, say, go and do what you do normally, win the ball, start the play, and get us higher up the pitch. And just picking off some of your points there, John, about Danjuma, a player that I feel like sometimes plays with a really poor torch in his hands. So he's not got a lot of light. He's got like a real straight line. He hasn't got a massive radius, and he doesn't seem to get his head up and think and look around him and see what options are up. He sort of squares up to 2 or 3 players and thinks, I'll just take him on all the time. And he did that. However, the one time he hurt the team was when we got him one-on-one with someone who was the last man. And when we can do that with Danjuma, we are going to get the best out of him. If we give him the ball on the halfway line and he's got to take 2 or 3 players on, he just seems to lose it or just tries to do too much.
Yeah, fair points. Owen, man of the match today, and also, what are we going to do against Burnley? Is it a case of chucking in the youth? Because there are so many young players now that are probably thinking, when am I going to get my go? Surely the FA Cup's the competition to do that. But in the last round, at least, we played such a strong side, it was almost ridiculous. So what do you think is going to happen?
I think maybe we should play some youth players, but also with at least some experience. So to give us at least half a chance, because we might do well in the FA Cup, but we would try and focus on the league, because we are a team that would want to try and get back to the Prem.
Yeah, completely agree. Any closing points, John?
I suppose Wilshere man of the match for me. I mean, based on that, I mean, it's difficult to really describe exactly what he brings so much more in that number 10 position. But the thing that I really felt was what we missed in the 4-3-3 that we were playing before was just getting someone to support Solanke. that someone was actually near him, that in a regular set-up formation, how we were, that actually someone wasn't close to him. And obviously it was Shane Long this time, but at least we had someone that was actually within reach of our striker that we could actually pass the ball to, someone that could link the play up. And if anyone in the Championship is going to be able to take the ball and do something magical on it with 5 people around him, it's going to be Jack Wilshere. And you've only got to look at his assist to see what he can bring. And just to do with Burnley, I think, I'd expect to see a few youth players, but then I would like to have seen Offerbore and Simpson in that game, and that's just not going to happen anymore. So for what youth players we've got, the likes of Anthony, Surridge isn't really a youth player anymore, but Kilkenny, possibly Zamora. Certainly would like to see a few of those get the run out. I'd imagine Will Dennis will play, but certainly I expect at least a half of them to be people like Pearson, people like Nepham that need to get game time and are part of the established 18 or 20.
Brilliant. John, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you very much. And also Kirk and Owen, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries.
Thanks for having us.
I'm going to go for a lie down now. You've made me run. So,
yeah, I was about to say, someone compared you with Usain Bolt on chat. So, yeah, well done. Owen, great work. 8 seconds. Like, if you do that again, we're going to try to beat that record. I've got it here. There you go. 8 minutes and 8 seconds. So, yeah, not bad at all. Well played. Got to say. Well done. Cheers. That's Kirk and Owen there. Thank you so much. Cheers, Owen. Thank you very much. Right. So, if you want to take part today, I'll pop the link up on screen very shortly. As I said, we're making it a family affair today. So we've got Billy with us as well, and his granddad, Pete North, as well. Hey. And to mix it up, we've got my nephew, Ben Phillips, here as well. So it's all about the family. Billy, how are you, mate? You're smiling.
Yeah, no, we got the points, which is all it needed. But don't think you're going to get me and Grandad swapping desks. That'll take about quite a while, about 3-4 miles away.
That's not going to happen, yeah. It'll
take me about an hour to run, but no, I'm not doing that. Yeah. But also one thing, Pete, happy birthday for tomorrow. Oh, we can't hear him.
Happy birthday, Pete. Happy birthday,
Pete.
He's deaf. Yeah, Pete, can you speak? Because we're not sure if we can hear you okay. We can't hear you, so if you need to take your headphones out, try doing that, and then we'll give you a go in a second. But
can you hear me now?
Perfect. Wonderful. Yeah, that'll do.
Okay, no problems. Let me turn the sound up a little bit.
No worries. So I guess it's your birthday tomorrow then. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And, there's a birthday 3 points for you then. This weekend.
Yes. Just what I needed. Just what everybody needed, I think, and it's great. The big thing about it, I think it's going to be a confidence boost for the team, because you can see when they went ahead, you could see them being lifted off the ground, the spirit being lifted off the ground. And we was going for it, which is great. And everybody's smiling now, I think, because of that. And
it's only one game. The performance wasn't brilliant. I suppose we have to keep our feet on the ground. But at the end of the day, Jonathan Woodgate, either as assistant or as caretaker like he is now, he hasn't really had much time to get to know the players. Did you feel sorry for Sam Surridge, Pete, player that when he's come on always gives it 100% and plays Shane Long, who's arguably been out of form?
Yeah, well, I thought any player that's been out of playing, who's not played for a while, is going to look rusty, and he definitely did. And he ran out of puff, Usually we have our substitutes around about the 60th minute, and that's when he should have come off, and Sam should have been on then, which was a bit of a downside, because Sam would have made all the difference, I think. But there you go. We can't have everything, I suppose. No. But apart from that, we got Lerma. I'll tell you what. You asked me before and caught me on the hop with the man of the match. My man of the match actually was Lerma, although Jack Wilshere wasn't far behind him. But Lerma was everywhere today. Wherever you looked, he popped up, vital tackles at the right minute, and then, going for it. Excellent. Changed man.
Yeah, just, I hope that form can carry us into the next few games, because as Chris Temple said, like the next time we play a team that's in the top 15, it's against Watford. near the end of the month. So, you know, we've got to turn these games into wins, and even if they're just grinding them out, it'll give them a little bit more confidence slowly but surely.
Watford will
Billy,
probably have a new manager by then anyway.
two or three. Pete and Billy, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it was short, but there's lots of people waiting to get on. Cheers, thank you very much. That's Billy, and it's birthday boy Pete tomorrow. Happy birthday, Pete. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on. Right, on the way up the Cherries, he was about to say. Right, coming up, we've got Ethan, Mark, Steve, Craig, Simon, and also AFCB Latvia, who I think is Robert as well as Ben. So they've been waiting the longest. We'll bring in AFCB Latvia and Ben, but Ben Phillips will come to you first, waiting patiently. 3-2 to Bournemouth. 3 points, not the most convincing win, but 3 points is 3 points, isn't it?
Yeah. I think with Danjuma, I don't care if he gives the ball away 50 times a game and gets caught offside 10 times. If he can put in performances like that and score a goal and get an assist, which was a very good assist, I won't really mind, because if we have players that can do that whilst maybe giving the ball away a few times, I don't really care. I personally think we would suit playing with two strikers, just to give Brooks and Danjuma more to like feed into. If Solanke and Long, Surridge or whoever you want to put there is playing in a two, I just think we would probably play better, just because in the Premier League we were known for playing a 4-4-2 with King and Wilson up front. I think it was Fraser on the left and like Matt Ritchie or whoever on the right. I think that's when we played better and scored more goals. And it's just, as someone said before, if we concede 3 goals and we score 5, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, we get the 3 points.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting you say about Danjuma, because I mean, Danjuma and Brooks in the first part of the game, it was almost like, you know, they were two players, one of them can't pass, one of them won't pass, and Danjuma was the one that seemingly didn't want to pass, and David Brooks, as we know in his recent performances, hasn't been particularly great when he's on the ball. However, I've got to say, Danjuma played better as the game went on. In the first half, I was getting really frustrated because he was very isolated up there on the left side. He always tended to cut in. There was no overlap from Lloyd Kelly, but as the game grew on, Lloyd Kelly started to get further forward, and we saw that when Shane Long flicked the ball onto him and he was through. Should have taken it on and tried to square that ball when really he could have taken it on a little bit more. But it was nice to see that he was getting that support, and that then gives Danjuma a few options. Yes, he can play it to Lloyd Kelly, or he can then try to cut inside. So it started to get more cohesive. But Ben Phillips, the defensive problems are still there, though, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm in twisted feelings about who we should start at left back, because I've noticed that Kelly is quite liable to giving the ball away quite a few times, and it's just in silly positions. I remember, I think it was in the 50th minute, he was high up on the left hand side, and then he just passed it back to there was no one there apart from one Birmingham player, and he just passed it straight to them. And Rico, he can be good. I feel like he's probably better when he's attacking more, because he's very good at crossing. He's good at like free kicks and set pieces. But yeah, I think we need to find a solid centre back partnership, because Mepham, if he plays like he did against Sheffield Wednesday, then who knows what he's going to do. And I think Carter Vickers does look really good. And I think we've got to start Steve Cook, because he's just an experienced player and he's just good. I think he's probably one of the best centre backs in the league. And yeah, I'm quite happy to say that we've got 2 good right backs, because I think when Smith came on I think it was in the second half, he may have started, I don't know. I think he was really good, just because I think he set up the Wilshere goal where he crossed it in. But yeah.
A nice way for you. You got sidetracked there by that, but no, I mean, what you say is absolutely true, Ben. And Really appreciate you coming on, and hopefully, we can push forward now and keep things going. So, Ben, appreciate your input, mate. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Robert is here from Latvia, and Robert, 3-2 to AFC Bournemouth. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, of course. 3 points. What a game. We should have played a little better, but 3 points, I won't say no to that. What a game.
Yeah, what a game. Which player do you think did well for us, or players did well for us today?
Wilshere, Lerma, and I think it's actually it, because I really enjoyed how Wilshere played. He was an unbelievable player. Like, he plays like prime Henderson. He plays so good. He plays like pass, and it's a goal. Like, he plays like a Henderson. He plays so good. What a player.
Well, yeah, maybe perhaps not like Henderson. I don't know. Well, I don't know. You know, it's funny. Jordan Henderson has got the good days and bad days, for Liverpool, and I think at the moment you're probably not seeing the best from him. He seems to be put at centre back very often, but yeah, when Henderson's on form, he's brilliant. But Wilshere, I've got to say, was good. It was good to see an improved Lerma as well, and Danjuma is finally on target again for us, and he's a player that is really unpredictable, Robert, as Ben just said. Sometimes he has bad games, but having the unpredictability of him means that you have got a goal in your side somewhere, and it was good to see him hit the back of the net today.
Yes, of course. I really like to have like Solanke on top, Danjuma, maybe in right wing, maybe in future if we somehow sign him. Maybe I'm not saying totally, but we should sign Riquelme, like, I know, for 2 mil. What a player he is, but he has to improve because his stamina is pretty bad, and he gets tackled, he can actually get injured because he is not as a strong player. He doesn't have strength and any stamina.
Yeah.
If we could get him for 2 mil, I'd definitely take him.
Yeah, well, why not? He just provides that option, doesn't he? Robert, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Very shortly, we're going to go 6 ways with Ethan, Mark, Steve, Craig Beasley and Simon Kay. But before that, I'm just going to bring in Reese to join us as well. Ben, I'll come to you next. And also George Ramsdale is here as well, looking like audio only at the moment. And yeah, Reese has got a smile on his face and looks very happy. I'm not even sure if he knows he's on screen. Oh no, he does. He's smiling.
Yeah.
But Ben, 3-2 wasn't perfect, but we'll take that, eh?
Well, we'll have to, but I'm worried that it papers over some cracks.
Yeah, go on.
Good to see Reece smiling, though. I don't want to take anything away from that. But I don't know. The substitution, the 67-minute substitution, Wilshere for Phil Billing. Yes, Phil Billing scored, but at the end of the day, we have never, ever in my watching time ever been able to consolidate a lead or to hold on to a lead. How many times, even like 10, 12 years ago, would we sit there at 85 minutes going, we're 2 up, is that enough? It happens far too often. And trying to take off forward players and put on defenders to try and hold a lead, we can't do that. That just invites pressure onto ourselves, and it infuriates me because it just puts the willies right up me. And that was like the kind of first thing that I was kind of worried about. Don't get me wrong, I'm really grateful we got 3 points, but at the end of the day, given where we are, given where they are, it should really have been a given. We shouldn't have been quite so scared. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, but isn't really related to the match, so I'm not sure if I should too much, was the £500,000 investment by the council into Kings Park Athletic Stadium. So no new Dean Courtney.
Well, from what they say, the investment is the lights, the track, and no big structures. Because I think relaying a 400-meter track's probably not cheap, and the floodlights aren't either. It is an investment, but whether it's enough for the club, who maybe if we are back to the Premier League, I mean that's just pocket money, isn't it? But at the end of the day, we didn't do anything in the 5-year stint that we were there. Will we next time? I don't know.
If it was really just pocket money, maybe we would have done it already.
Yeah, very good point. Yeah,
but it just.
Yeah, it's yeah, no, I mean it's an interesting sort of conversation to have. Actually, to be fair, we'll bring Reese in with us.
Sorry, get back to match.
Yeah, Reese. Thankfully, there's no opposition fan to wind you up today to trigger you, and all is good. I did cut that out of the last free-for-all, so no one can see it anymore. But I think apparently the clip went viral.
It did. It went viral on one of I saw it. Yeah, it was the Sheffield Wednesday fan put on their thing, and then this other Instagram page posted it on there as well, and my friends found out that I was on there.
Can you send it to me? Because I haven't seen it. I mean, well, I
will.
I will. Yeah.
I
so,
will.
so anyway, Reese, you're obviously frustrated and upset after that last match, but not today.
Sign Jack Wilshere that lifelong contract. Get Jack Wilshere. Just get the paper. Sign him that. Sign him now. Sign it now. He has magic. He wears the magic cap. He could have signed for Roma. He didn't fancy that. He passes with his left foot. He passes with his right. And when we beat the Scummers, we'll sing this song tonight. And also, Jonathan Woodgate. You know what, yeah? I'm going to be like Rio Ferdinand about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, yeah? Give him that paper as well. Yeah, sign the contract. We're back.
Well, mate,
Woodgate's at the wheel. I'm going to regret this in a couple more.
It doesn't worry you though, mate.
Anyway.
It doesn't worry you having a defensive coach again.
So how I didn't watch the game. I brought the commentation for AFCB live, and what I was hearing was we need a new left back. We need a new left back now. Like, I'm so upset we couldn't sign Matt Ritchie, but we were good on the ball. We had good tempo. We made good momentum, and we showed good character on the counter. But we just need more. We just need a bit more urgency. That, like, you can see the players are more happier now because obviously we've got this win. We've scored a couple good goals, in my opinion. They were good, but we just need a bit more we need to improve more defensively with crosses, and we just need to improve more defensively. That's just been us. That's like in the Premier League. We're horribly defensively. We just seem to score goals. We need to stop leaking in stupid goals, because those are the goals that are going to cost us those games. Do you know that automatic's only 9 points?
Yeah, I mean, it's matches like this that that really count, and we've had so many like this that we should be up there based on the quality of players that we got. But anyway, we're not. Reese, thanks so much for coming in. We've got more people coming in the room, so appreciate it. Thanks very much. You've got a smile, which is a good thing.
Take care.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. George is here with us as well. George, how are you, mate? 3-2.
Good, yeah, buzzing.
What do you make of that performance?
I feel like left back is an issue still. I feel like we should maybe give Jay-Z a game.
A lot of people are saying the same thing. Rico has a bad game, we're clamouring for Kelly, and then Kelly has a bad game, we're clamouring for Rico, but no one really mentions Jordan Zamora. And perhaps he should be played because he hasn't really done much wrong. Like, whenever we have played him, he's been exceptional, and that's the same for most of the youth. Really, you must feel a bit hard done by when you see new players that are coming in and going straight into the side. It must be quite hard for players like him.
Offenborough as well, letting him go out and giving him a chance. Personally, I thought Lerma was poor the past 2 weeks. It could have been nice to let him play, but obviously. He's gone back to Wickham now, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I mean, give us some positives for today. Then, what do you think worked well, and who performed well for us?
It's like long but good shift in his first game. Actually, felt like he's been here a while, even though he's just been here for a week. Just fully understanding what it is to wear a Bournemouth shirt. To understand what it is to win. I think he understands what it means to the club and the fans more than what anyone else would. Danjuma, I feel like he keeps it too much, but good to see him score again.
Yeah,
I think Danjuma is just that he doesn't necessarily trust the players around him as much. He feels like, I say this as if it's fact, it's not, but it looks like he feels like he's better than everyone around him, and therefore the only players he passes to are the ones who are high up on the talent list, like Brooks earlier on. I don't really blame him for that to an extent, but at the same time, it's also like, yeah, but you got to give him a go. You know what I mean? Because you fanning about in the corner doing nothing with it for 10 minutes is not helping us. But then when he turns it on, you know what I mean? Yeah. Can't argue.
Very much so. We're going to switch it around, but before we go, both of you are Neil Blake, and you've got the decision. Who's going to be the new manager? I'll start with you, George.
Right now, I don't know if I trust Woodgate or we bring in someone externally.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of suggestions that are pie in the sky, and whilst we Rafa Benitez, of course, we'd love someone like that, but is it going to happen? Probably not. People have mentioned Slaven Bilic, probably won't happen. I think he's in China having a payday at the moment, so probably unlikely to come here. Ben, have you got anyone that you'd quite fancy?
If we're looking to inspire the players, so we want somebody with enough ability to make them feel awesome. I don't know, Paul Gascoigne, he's local.
It's a bit left field, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also not genuinely my opinion, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But no, I'll be honest. I really genuinely haven't got a clue. I don't think Tyndall was doing much wrong. I think the players might have responded today because they realised they've lost a good man his job. What I'm intrigued by is what happens over the next 2 matches to see where they go longer term. I don't think Woodgate's the answer. But equally, when we talk about the guys with experience of getting out of division, we're always talking about guys that play terrible football.
Yeah.
Stop the language there. And we fired Pulis 30 years ago because he was rubbish.
Yeah.
He had a great career after that, but it was still rubbish to watch. And I was like 11, 12-year-old watching back then, but it wasn't pleasant.
No.
And I'm hoping we don't go back there again.
Exactly. That's the name that worries me. And given the fact he's got a relationship with Woodgate before, that's one of the problems. And his style doesn't match the players that we've got. So
no.
Yeah, it would be counterproductive, I think. Ben and George, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Cheers, guys. Ben,
Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much. And also, George, much appreciated, mate. Thank you very much. Right, we're going 6 ways now. So firstly, let's bring in the man, the legend. He's got his disco party lights going on in the background. It is the one and only DJ Ethan Burney. Hey, loving those lights in the background. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for asking. 3-2 to Bournemouth. We're all happy. I mean, it wasn't the best performance, but a win's a win, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll take those 3 points and move on to Burnley and hopefully win against Nottingham.
Oh, yeah, we need that. Should we talk a little bit about Asmir Begovic? Because he's been our best player this season, best player. And then he's had a couple of shaky moments in the last, couple of games. I mean, what was that? What was that goal all about that he conceded?
But second goal, but starfish again.
Yeah, yeah, he was. I'm not sure whether that was your wave, by the way, because there were loads of people asking you to give him a wave. Daniel, George there as well, and many more. So we're going to fill it up, and Ethan will keep you in because we've got another legend, Simon Kay, here as well. Simon, you all right?
I'm all right. How are you guys? Hi, Ethan. Give us a wave.
Hello.
I've just got a feeling it's going to be one of these next like 5 or 10 minutes where the chats are going to come in. Mark's here as well. Mark Jackson, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Sam. You?
Yeah, very well. We've got Craig Beasley here as well. Craig, you all right, mate?
Oh, so much better than the other night. Yeah. Firstly, apologies. Apologies to Ben Phillips for hearing my rant on Tuesday night, but I was not happy. I was hurting badly. Thanks, thanks as well, Simon, for your concern that day. Because I tell you what, it was a painful performance to watch. But although today wasn't brilliant, wasn't a brilliant performance. Woodgate did the job that he set out to do, and that was to get the 3 points. And it's opened up a little bit of a gap now to 7th. If we can keep that gap open up even more by winning games, I'm not bothered what anybody else does. As long as we just keep winning games, we can start to push forwards. And you never know. You never know. You never know. We might get back in there in contention for the top 2 at the moment. I'm just happy. Look, we're in the playoffs at the moment, and what happens after that, is a bonus.
Got Steve Hensman here as well. Steve Hensman, how are you?
All right, mate. Evening.
Evening. You all right in the garage again today, are you?
Yeah. I don't get interrupted out here.
No, that's all right. And how did you enjoy that game? Was it a game that you enjoyed? I mean, ultimately, we're all enjoying the result now, but throughout it, were you? Was anything making you smile for once, or not really? Same old frustrations.
I was pleased to see the change in formation, although I didn't think we implemented it as effectively as we could have done. We didn't play well for the first sort of half hour, did we? Conceded a goal, another cross into the box. We stuttered, but then I thought, there was that little bit of magic by Jack. He drew the defender in, he turned him, he played a lovely ball to Danjuma, and there's that bit of confidence we need. Finish, and off we go. Second half, we've got our noses in front, obviously. Then we pegged back, and then my mate Billing pops up with a winner. What an exceptional player he is.
I know. He pops up when it counted, and Mark, it's nice to see him getting on the score sheet, but he's got a lot to do. Like if he's going to be trying to dislodge Jack, who had a tremendous game. Lerma, that usually if he plays at 75% has a good game, and also you've got the kind of dynamism of Lewis Cook there as well. So he's got his work cut out, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone thought he had a better start to the season than everyone thought he was going to have. And that was nice to see. And I still think he's got something to offer. I mean, coming off the bench, it was a surprise to see Wilshere come off, but equally, we don't know how much he's got in his legs at the moment. We don't know if they're managing him back to hopefully having a productive season without any injuries. So I don't know. Yeah, he does have a lot to do, but then again, there's a lot of games to be played and a lot of changes that we're going to have to make game by game, I guess. So yeah, it's nice, and hopefully you could see after the first goal the confidence started to flow back. The first half an hour was painful to watch. Really, it was much of the same. It was, I don't know why we expected much different. It's been 3 days, so I don't know. No one's going to work magic in 3 days, but after that first half an hour, you saw the confidence come back, and you saw that attacking threat that we know that we've got start to come back, I guess. And yeah, for Billing to get the goal, I don't think anyone had that in their bet slip this week, but it goals from everywhere in this team. There definitely is, and hopefully we can carry on moving forward.
Yeah, that's right. Simon, who impressed you today?
First of all, 3 points. How I've missed you. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. It's nice to get 3 points on the board. It was also nice to see a 4-2-3-1. Because as many people know, that's my favourite system for the personnel that we have. And lo and behold, what a chuffing surprise. Ethan's on the call, so I'm going to watch my language. I'm sure he's heard worse. That Wilshere does what he does. Transition, sees a pass, earns a foul, does what he does. And that is the best place for him to be. So I'm just happy we're back. It wasn't the best. There's a long way to go. And I think bottom line is you can't expect some of these players like Lloyd Kelly, who gets a lot of criticism sometimes for the right reasons, to learn a system when the system has kept changing so many times and he's had to play in different positions with different scenarios and situations. We need to find something and stick with it for what we feel is the best. And then just put the players into that formation that we find works the best. So happy days. I am happy. I'm slightly pessimistic. I don't know who the manager should be, but it's 3 points.
It is 3 points. I was wondering, Craig.
Yeah.
By the way, it sounds like you've got your hands full there. You're having to entertain kids and also be on.
Yeah, my daughter's having a sing-song in the background.
Go in your garage, Craig.
But when they did score, it nearly got worse with that sensational strike to make it 2-0, but it was disallowed. And for large parts of the first half, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be another one of those games. Did you think that at all?
Yeah, I think, with regards to it looked like it was deja vu at first. I agree with Kirk. The first 10, 15 minutes wasn't bad. But after that, it looked like it was, getting quite difficult. And, as soon as they scored the first, nearly got the second, luckily it was chalked off. I was dreading it a little bit. But luckily, the team turned it around. They did. There's certain players, have to take a lot of credit. I think Jack Wilshere was very, very good today. Lloyd Kelly, I don't know because I did say during the Sheffield Wednesday rant, I'll call it a rant.
Very posh, Craig.
Yeah, very posh.
Well, yeah, I was. Well, yeah, I was absolutely livid after that game because, like I said to you, Sam, it's not the actual defeat that hurt. It was the manner of that defeat, and it felt like the players weren't given a toss. And for somebody who's been here for 22 years, that's what really, really hurt me. But today, a lot of players pulled their fingers out. I still have reservations over Kelly. There was a pass it didn't come to nothing, luckily, but there was a pass. We was in an attacking position. He was on the left-hand side. He passed it from, where, he had options and passed it straight to a Birmingham player and they went on the counter-attack. Yeah. Like I say, a better team, a Brentford, a Swansea, would make us pay for that.
Yeah.
But, it's work in progress.
I'm just looking at what's going on chat at the moment, and a lot of manager talk. So we'll just switch on to that because there's not a lot. We're going to bring in ever so shortly Callum, Jamie, and John, and I think we've got George there as well that we can bring in very shortly. But before we do, new managers. Ethan, who would you like to see in charge of AFC Bournemouth this time next week? Because there's been a lot of names that have been mentioned. A lot of them are probably not going to happen, but then there are some that could. Who do you think?
Well, I would say Frank, but he's not really interested. So probably say John Terry, but even though he's not experienced, but I'll take him.
John Terry. Interesting. But do you think that John Terry, he hasn't managed a club just like Jason Tyndall hadn't, but do you think the fact that he's had such a decorated football career, he's won the Premier League, I think he's won the Champions League, he's got so many England caps, do you think that will count for a lot?
I think so, but you just need someone good, really. But today, good so far.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Ethan, thanks so much. And you can turn around and see yourself on the screen right behind you because I see you've got it on TV as well. Yeah, mate, nice one.
Yeah.
Ethan, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me again.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you. And before we bring in Callum, Jamie, and also George, we'll go around the rest and see what you guys think. Simon, any preliminary thoughts on who you'd like to see take charge?
It's a tough one. All the variables that we have as a club and what matters to us and what we need to achieve and who's the best fit and who's available and what politics or issues come with different entities. It's a very difficult one. There's not a straight answer. I think what it has to come down to is what's our objective and what's our willingness to spend money at this point in the season. If our objective is to stick and at least get in the playoffs, you probably have to go with someone like Nigel Pearson based on the available entities. I think I would prefer, if he was available, someone like Billing, purely because he's got teams up. He's not done that well once he's up there. But then again, he had a couple of amazing seasons with West Ham, when West Ham had a really talented bunch of players and he managed to galvanise them and make it work. So if he was to be available, I'd take the punt on Billing. If he's not, I think out of all the other options and variables that we have on our plate and who we are and what we need at this time, what the objective is, I'd probably say Pearson.
Yeah, and Pearson, I think, probably doesn't get the credit he perhaps deserves for basically putting all the foundations in place for Claudio Ranieri to just come along and win the title with Leicester, because he did a lot of work before, being relieved of his duties at the King Power. Mark, any thoughts on it?
No, in terms of a name, I think Pearson could work. I mean, he's not going to take any crap from players. He's going to give them the kick up the backside that they need, I think, in certain situations like now. But I suppose when you say about Pearson and the foundations he laid at Leicester, he got them up. Obviously, he kept them up with that incredible sort of second half of the season. But then Ranieri won the league with a very similar team. They only bought in one or two players, and they won the league the following season. So I'm not saying he didn't do a good job at Leicester, but someone with very similar players did a much better job. So I don't know. It's a funny one. In terms of type of manager I'd want to bring in, just someone who inspires the players, because we've got the quality. We know we've got the quality. Everyone knows that. And if we go for someone that just doesn't get that respect from the players and is able to get them, that was the problem with Tyndall, because he was still part of the same regime as Eddie was, and they let that group down, that management group down once. So bringing Tyndall in didn't bring anything new to the table, and that was why we've seen what we've seen the whole season, really. So yeah, a fresh face, which is thankfully what it looks like they're going for, but who that is, I'll let the people that get paid the big bucks decide that, I suppose.
No, yeah, that's right. Someone, Chris there mentioned Andre Villas-Boas, and that's another person that I didn't realise he's never kicked football in his life. He's one of those select bunch of coaches that played to a particular level, like during youth, but didn't do much more than that. So less qualified than JT in some ways, but he somehow worked his way up and got some jobs at big clubs, and that's another name that I think I saw it on one of the betting sites, actually. So Craig, any thoughts before I come to Steve and then we switch it up?
Yeah, of course. My daughter's creeping around now because she's just realised that I'm on the screen.
You'd be no good for the job, Craig.
I know. She's not running around with a pink unicorn anymore. But yes, there's certain people that I don't want. Pulis, long ball. We haven't got the right sort of people. Mark Hughes popped up. No. I don't think so.
Probably too nice. But
what, Mark Hughes?
Oh, Hughes. I thought you said Mark Pugh.
Mark Hughes. Mark Hughes. Sorry. Mark Pugh. Yeah, I'd love to see him back at the club. Other people, John Terry's been mentioned. I know Harry Redknapp was suggesting him. I don't think so. Again, no managerial experience. The one I quite like is Frank Lampard. But actually, my dad, up in Reading, actually suggested somebody Steve Coppell. You know, he's been out of the game for a long time. You know, he's got teams out of this division before. He's done very, very well. You know, I think that's quite a valid suggestion. And somebody who's not being muted. I don't know how old he is or what he's doing now, but it's a suggestion. It's a possibility. It's somebody who might be fairly cheap as well.
Yeah, he's 65 years old at the moment, Steve Coppell, and
Is he?
yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure the last job he was in management at. I think 80k abroad. So yeah, goodness knows really. Steve,
I'm starting a petition for Kirk Tovey. That's who I want. He knows all the answers.
He'll get
Am I coming in as the assistant, Steve? You know, to be honest, I don't want the top job. I'll be his assistant, though, mate.
Wow. Have to talk money there, Craig. No, seriously, I'm kind of with Simon a little bit. I feel Bilic was a good shout. He's done it before. He's proven track record in this division, and yeah, I don't know what his movements are at the moment. You say he's in China, but I thought he was available. But obviously, that might be a sticking point if he is in China. Apart from that, I could go with Pearson, I suppose. I say again, he's done it at this level, but I did hear he was struggling with some health issues in his previous role, and I don't know if he's taken a break or not. The bit of a left field one that me and Craig talked about this the other day, and this goes down the route of sticking to our sort of history of promoting within to a somewhat is Mark Molesley.
Yeah.
What would you think about that?
How's he doing at Southend at the moment? Because he didn't.
Well, he's turning it around
very well. Yeah,
he is. It's slowly but surely. They're still bottom. Well, they were bottom at the start today. However, he's walked into a horrific job there, and I mean a horrific job. And he's got them within touching distance. When they got relegated from League One, they were a complete shambles. I don't even think they had a team. So what he's done there is, remarkable. He's built a team up. They've not got off to the best of starts. There hasn't really been any time to gel. Mark Molesley, I think, given the resources, will be a very, very good manager. And quote me on that. I think he will be a very, very good manager. Whether or not the board would even consider him because, where he is in the Lake
I personally
Pyramid.
think they're going to change of scenery. I think they're going to bring in a fresh face. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I just think Mark Molesley's, is not. It's a bit of a left field one. Ties with the club.
I think the problem with him, though.
Sorry, go on, Mark.
I was just going to say the problem with him is, well, not problem, but the circumstances are completely different at Southend. They've got, like you say, they've got no resources. They've got no nothing. We've got the team. So it's a completely different job. I think one more. Oh, I was just going to say one more suggestion that I've got. I'm from the Midlands and got a lot of Cov friends, Cov fans as friends, and Mark Robbins has done an incredible job at Cov. He plays good football. He knocks the ball around nicely. He's got teams promoted. He worked under Fergie, so he's got experience in that sense. So he's another one that I wouldn't mind. And I mean, would he move? I don't know. He's done such a great job there, and he wants to keep him in the Championship. But I think he's another one as well.
The bottom line with all these options, the bottom line with all these options is the board's objectives. Category AAA manager, get us promoted, get us back up to the Premier League. They're going to have to spend some money, and they're going to have to commit. It's as simple as that. Category B is keep us in the playoffs and solidify this unit and make them feel confident. And that's a different category of manager. Category C, keep us in the Championship, build something for the future. That's a different category of manager again. The board have to decide which it is. If it's category AAA, there's a finite number of entities, but it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Very good
See,
point.
I think Mark Molesley would be worth he's worth considering because he, like I say, he's had nothing. He's had nothing handed to him on a plate. In fact, he's walked into a mess. Yeah. And he's got a load of players that don't know each other, to picked their ideas up, and has turned them into a side that look like, if they carry on their form, they will stay up.
Yeah.
They will stay up this season, which was Southend fans. If you read the reports beforehand, thought that they had no chance. They thought that they were going, straight out into non-league. He's managed to turn that around, and that sort of manager, that's effectively what Eddie did.
Yeah.
Craig, no bloody chance. Sorry, mate, no bloody chance. Sorry to shoot you
No,
down.
I don't think we would.
That just ain't going to happen. At the end of the day, when you've got players like Wilshere and Danjuma and these kind of guys in the changing room, they need somebody who they respect. And you need somebody who's going to come in and give them a kind of whipping, but make them feel good about themselves and make them feel like a unit. If you want to get back up to the Premier League, you're going to have to give it a go. I don't want to shoot you down. Molesley's great. Love him to bits.
Yeah.
But if we put in a medium-term scenario of let's solidify the Championship, the old Huddersfield analogy that I gave the other week, what they were trying to do, which is right if you want to stick and then evolve. Long-term plan. But he's no way near the kind of person that we need for this bunch of players. This bunch of players need someone who will immediately gain respect, who can bring them together and can make them feel good about themselves and push hard to give us a chance of getting automatic promotion. And if that's what the board want, they're going to have to pull someone significant out of the hat.
Brilliant. Right, Gads, we're going to have to switch up because we've got 5 minutes or so to go. Thanks so much, Craig. Thanks very much.
Yeah,
appreciate it, mate. And also we've got Steve Hensman. Thank you so much for coming on, mate.
No worries, mate.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you for coming on. And Simon Kay, pleasure.
Pleasure as always, Sam. Look after yourself. You're doing great work.
Cheers, mate. And also Mark Jackson. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, Sam. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, nice one. Right, okay. So Jamie's here with Callum. So sorry to keep you waiting, guys. My God.
No worries.
One of those times, Callum. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good to see you.
You were hearing all that chat about new managers and stuff. Any thoughts at this early stage?
Yeah, we can't be talking about Mark Molesley. I'm sorry, but I just think we're talking about Premier League ambition here. We're in the Championship. Mark Molesley out of the equation for me. I think let's give it to Tom Jordan, shall we? Let's get
yeah, why not whack him in there?
Get your suit on, TJ. Let's have you on the sidelines, buddy. I think let's do it.
I'll be happy with Tom and Jamie Williams with a sort of managerial combo because Jamie knows what he's talking about as well. Jamie, how are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good. Nice to actually win a game for a change.
Oh my God. It was needed, wasn't it?
Oh God. I was so nervous after we conceded our second goal. It looked offside, to be fair, like the Hogan goal, but today it was exactly like Sheffield Wednesday. Really, it didn't happen for Tyndall, but it's about winning because that gives confidence, and then confidence breeds better performances because the players feel themselves a little bit better. But yeah, it was just nice to win a game for a change. As regards to the manager and stuff, I think Molesley and sort of unproven names, or I'll even throw Terry in there. I wouldn't necessarily obviously I'd back them if they get the job, but I think this club at the moment is at a crossroads in terms of the long term. Obviously, they need a name sort of or a long term vision. So like a Terry or a Vieira or a Lampard who wants to make their name in the game is. In terms of the long-term vision, it makes sense because they need to make an impact, sort of like Gerrard's done at Rangers. But I think for us, we need results now because the long-term implications, if we don't go up, is a massive factor. And I'd been looking more down the route of the likes of Slavica Jokanovic, who's got teams up, even. Like a bit of a left field one. There's somewhat of a connection to our club, just who we just brought in, but even like a Martin O'Neill, who's out of a job at Ireland, had history of in the game, got people out of the division. It's just I think we need a steady hand at the moment to just sort of who's going to get an impact straight away, command respect, been there, done it. Even Pearson falls into that category. Not sure how the board would feel about him ruffling feathers and stuff like that because he is quite outspoken. But I feel like we are at a crossroads because I think we need short-term results, but we need a long-term vision. And whether you can get that both in just one man doesn't always happen. It can do if you obviously do your due diligence and you really believe in the project and that the players believe in them straight away and they get results. But I feel like the job is sort of like in two aspects. We need that short-term results because next season is going to be massively difficult if we don't go up now. Just because of the financial implications, you're probably going to have to sell more players. There's a lot of players out of contract. But yeah, today's obviously just the first building blocks for that. And at the end of the day, Jonathan Woodgate had a remit of get 3 points today, and he's fulfilled that.
Yeah, he has. And Callum, I mean, he got the 3 points. I mean, he hasn't really had enough time to put his stamp on the side, but all he had to get was the 3 points. I mean, whether he'll be in contention or not, we don't know. I mean, how do you feel after today's performance?
Yeah, I think it was an improvement. Of course, it was an improvement. It was still, for me, it's miles off of a promotion performance. I didn't think we looked anywhere near a top 6 side in that first half. There's still a long way to go. Yes, he did get the win, and at the end of the day, the 3 points are important, aren't they? Let's face it, points matter. But I just think, it's early days, I think, to say anything about Woodgate. Personally, I don't think we should appoint him. But he did get us the win. So what can you say?
Bright points today, Callum, Jack Wilshere, but there were still a few negatives, weren't there?
There were, mate. Yeah, there were. It's certainly not. We are not looking, like I say, like a promotion team at the moment. I do not think. I think we're very sluggish. The one thing that stands out for me, and I don't know about you guys, certainly in the first half with Danjuma down the left, where's the link up? Where's the partnerships down these wings? When we look at the days of Richie and Francis, we look at Pugh and Daniels. There's that solid partnership. You've got Danjuma picking up the ball on the left, and Kelly's just running off. He's gone. He's just completely turning the other direction and running away. And teams suss us out. They know the danger men. They surround Danjuma, and that's it. And the wide plays over. That's it. So I do think that's a big issue. I think Wilshere's quality was shining through today. Obviously, you'd expect that from a player of his stature. But yeah, certainly not a well-rounded performance at all. But would you expect anything different at the moment? No. They can't exactly buy into Woodgate's style of play, or they can't, because they let's face it, they're going to think, well, in a week or two he's going to be gone anyway, and we're going to have someone else in. So it's difficult for them to really get G'd up and passionate and sort of riled up with the new manager because it's temporary. So we got the 3 points. That's the main thing.
George is here as well. George, you all right?
Yeah, great result today. I was looking at our next few matches and they seem like pretty easy ones. We got Nottingham, we got Rotherham, QPR, Cardiff, and then Watford. If we win against Watford, you could see us at the top half, like 3rd and 4th, maybe.
But when you say easy games, I mean, I could
Easier.
just quote games that we've just played.
Certainly no easy game at this level, is there?
No, exactly. But hopefully this winning will breed confidence. And in many ways, it didn't really matter how it came today. And today, it wasn't the prettiest, but we got the job done, didn't we?
Yeah, it was up and down the whole match. When they scored that equaliser, I was getting scared. I was thinking we could easily throw this now. But then Billing with that cheeky little goal.
Yeah. And, we had chances. Well, we had chances to score again. I mean, it wasn't all bad. Jamie, plus points for today. And also, what would you be doing for Tuesday? Because there's that kind of, that mental sort of, do you keep momentum going and think, well, having players playing together, learning how to play together, it could be good to take that form into the FA Cup and then on to the next game? Or do you switch it up completely, leave them free of injury? What do you do?
I think the positives from today was, like, we've seen, even like in the first 10 minutes, it was a little bit more intensity. You've seen some better performances from individuals. I think I agree with Callum in terms of, like, in the overall picture, that we're not playing particularly well. But in my opinion, it doesn't. You say in the short term, I feel like for the rest of the season, it doesn't really matter how we play. We just have to win. We have to get results in terms of the long-term vision of the club. And I think the manager needs to come in and get that out of the players. We created chances, but then the other side of that, we we couldn't have argued if we were 2-0 down. Obviously, Begovic made another mistake today, which hopefully doesn't continue to do that. But life of a goalkeeper, he makes a brilliant save just before that, and then he makes an absolute wreck. And that's just the life of being a goalkeeper, I suppose. But there were certain individual errors, giving the ball away in our own box. Lewis Cook did it a couple of times, like Kelly. So there's still those individual errors which Tyndall. And in the end, he succumbed to those because at the end of the day, today we got a little bit lucky. I don't feel like we deserved to win. I feel like a draw we couldn't have complained at, but we got that little bit of luck, and we got over the line and we won the game. In terms of moving into Burnley in the week, I feel like it shouldn't just be all the kids. It shouldn't just be, Will Dennis is automatically a selection in goal. It shouldn't be Gavin Kilkenny's automatically going to be in central midfield. I feel like you need to play people who need to play. So the likes of Mepham, who's had bad games in the league, he needs to have another game because he needs to. Even Carter Vickers has to play because he's played one game out of the last 3 or 4. Ben Pearson needs to play because he hasn't played at all for us yet. Rico hasn't played the last couple. He needs to play. Surridge deserves a start. Shane Long needs game time. He hasn't played at all for Southampton. Jack Wilshere, I'm not sure if he started again. He did start against Sheffield Wednesday, actually, didn't he? But he's had 1 or 2 starts, but primarily been on the bench for us. So Brooks, do you play him because of his form? Stanislas just coming back from injury. He needs some game time. So it's not a case of just like, Anthony's in, Kilkenny's in, Dennis is in, Zamora's in. Because we can't do that. At the end of the day, we've got Nottingham Forest, Rotherham, QPR, Watford, Cardiff, all coming up within the space of 3 to 4 weeks. And at the end of the day, we can't. Stacey didn't play today either. You need players that are good. You can't just expect players just to come in, full tilt straight away, like they've never been out of the side, and that's reality. And you can't be changing 11 players on Burnley and thinking, it's a nothing game. It doesn't really matter if we lose or go through. Obviously, we'd like to win because we want to win every game. But in terms of the longer term impact of the season, you need to play players that are your first 3 off the bench at a minimum, and the players who are coming back from injury to make sure that they've had some minutes and can actually make an impact in the Championship. Because we see with Danjuma, he's come back. He hasn't necessarily been what he was like at the start of the season. And it takes time. It takes them time to get match rhythm and actually start to link up with players and find combinations. But a lot is going to hinge on what we do with the manager and who he likes as the players when he comes in. It's a lot of it up in the air at the moment. But in terms of Woodgate, I think he's got to pick the players that haven't played much, and also who he sees, if he is going to be the manager, who he sees as fundamental plans for the rest of the season.
Yeah, see, sorry to chip in there. I feel like with the FA Cup game, the thing is, with the last season, well, for this season, we haven't found our best player, our best team, really, have we? Let's face it. You've got JT making triple subs the last 2 games at half-time. When did you ever see this in the 2014-15 season? You know, with a solid 11 that you knew, it's these lads. These are the team that's taken us forwards. Yes, we'll swap it out for the Cup back then and give the young lads a play out. We don't know who our best team is now. I think on the back of this result, I think put out, maybe I'd probably put Pearson in, get him some game time on Tuesday. But I think let's solidify this team now. Let's try and get a momentum going with this and try and solidify a starting 11, because it's just, you know, that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, completely agree. We're going to have to cut it short because we've been on for about 90 minutes so far. So honestly, appreciate you coming on. Callum, top man, thanks for coming on, mate.
See you soon, mate.
Yeah, cheers. Jamie, thanks very much for coming on, mate.
Cheers, Sam.
Cheers. And also to George as well. I appreciate it was brief, but thank you for coming on, buddy.
Cheers, Sam. Thank you.
Cheers. John was trying to get on as well. However, I've only got till 6:30 today. And subscribe to John's channel, though. If you're on YouTube and you're watching, I've put it in the chat, okay? So why don't you subscribe to him as a little... apology for me not being able to get him on today. Right, so coming up, we've got player rating show tonight. Sunday, the candidates. We're going to go through a tier list of everyone that's on the betting sites and go through them, pros and cons. We've got an evening with Ted McDougall on Sunday night, Cherries striking legend. We've got the second look show on Monday morning, as you can see, and the opposition preview with a Burnley fan, called Andy Hodgson, who you may have seen on TV. That's all coming up. If you want to hit the like on this video, we'd really appreciate it. Just click the thumbs up. That just helps support what we do. And also, why not buy us a coffee, if you will, as well, which pays for our StreamYard subscription, our software subscriptions that we use for the graphics, also Podiant, our podcast platform as well, and also our time. We're doing all this, the goodness of our hearts, I'm telling you now. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it, whether you've been on screen or in live chat. We truly do appreciate it. And if you want to come on, male, females, really want some women to come on, have their say, young, old, whatever, please get involved. We would love to hear from you. Until then, up the cherries. See you next time on, what is it, Tuesday for the watch along. Burnley, let's do it.